Good afternoon, everyone. This is Paul, and today in my video game reviews section of my channel, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Normally, I separate my views into a review of the video game itself and a Catholic review. But however, in the case of this atrocity I'm about to review, I'm going to do both at the same time, and that is a little forgotten gem, for good reason, that I like to call New Super Mario Bros. 2. Now wait a second, Paul, some of you might be objecting. Mario's a harmless side-scrolling game. I mean, why pick on that of all games to make fun of in your Catholic faith when you've got others like Grand Theft Auto, which is, the biggie among Catholics? Well, for one, I haven't played Grand Theft Auto, and for two, I thought New Super Mario Bros. 2 was such a disgrace to Mario even before I thought about it from a Catholic perspective. And now that I think about it from that, now it's an even more horrible game. So, without further ado, here's my negative review of New Super Mario Bros. 2 for the 3DS. Now, when this game was first announced, keep in mind that the Wii U was on the horizon, so there was also New Super Mario Bros. U to look forward to. So, when I heard about New Super Mario Bros. U, it sounded so much better. I mean, it had HD graphics for the very first time in Mario history. It also had both the Yoshis that were so much fun in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, plus it had the baby Yoshis, which seemed even more fun. And then the gamepad usage seemed really cool, and I mean, it didn't revolutionize Mario platformers, but it certainly seemed like a worthy follow-up in the new series. And then they had this little 3DS game called New Super Mario Bros. 2, which for one, the title is like the epitome of stupid, because it's technically the third New Super Mario Bros. And besides, they could have just made a subtitle like New Super Mario Bros. Too Many Coins. Because I kid you not, that is the premise of this game. If you look at the box art, it shows Mario and Luigi trying their best to hold as many coins as possible as they rain down from the sky, and that is no exaggeration of the game in the slightest. This game is overflowing with coins. Even when you first turn it on, coins are raining down on the Mario Brothers, and the back of the box says, "Can you get 1 million coins?" I never actually got that particular goal, because I gave up on the game way before then, but suffice to say, I've heard the prize is extremely underwhelming. But yes, this game keeps track of every single coin you have ever collected across all 3 save files. And you know how most Mario levels have a handful of coins that you can pick up, and if you get 100, you get a 1-up? Well, in this game, you can get hundreds, I kid you not, hundreds of coins in just one level. So, in other words, it's pretty much impossible that you'll ever see a game over sign, because you'll just collect too many coins to get yet another 1-up when you try again. It's quite honestly one of the dumbest gimmicks I've ever seen in the mainstream Mario games. I mean, I know a lot of people pick on Super Mario Sunshine, but that game was at least fun. This game is just way too gimmicky. Now, before I badmouth this game way too much, let me point out what is good about the game. The controls are as grand as ever. Mario games have never really been a problem in terms of playability. Also, the graphics, while if you compare it to New Super Mario Bros. U, they look pretty pathetic, but they're definitely a huge step up from the previous New Super Mario Bros. On the DS. Also, when you take out the coins, the levels would be fairly well designed, if not somewhat on the boring side, after you've seen what the previous games can do. And the sound quality is as stellar as ever, even if I am really disappointed that pretty much every single song, like literally every single song, is either ripped straight from New Super Mario Bros. Wii, or they just have a bit more bahs in them. So, yes, it may control well, and it may feel like moderate fun if you've got nothing better to do and you got your 3DS and you're like, hey, let's play a Mario game. Other than that, this game falls flat in pretty much every department. I mean, first off, you've got the insane lack of creativity in the items. Now, one thing that was really amazing about New Super Mario Bros. Wii was they had some really cool new items, like the propeller mushroom, which may be my favorite Mario power-up to date. And then you had the ice flower and the penguin suit. And even though they looked ridiculous, they performed really well and added a lot to the game. Plus, you had the insane multiplayer mode, which could sometimes be more harm than good, but it was still a blast. This game just feels like a step backwards. Maybe that's why they called it New Super Mario Bros. 2. I mean, the big new item in this game is the coin flower, where you turn into a gold version of yourself, and then you can, like, toss golden fireballs at, like, everything in your path and turn them into coins. There's also a coin ring that is kind of like the red coin ring, but now it turns everything into coins. And then the coin block, which you put it on your head, and the faster you run, the more coins you get. Yeah, did I mention this game has a lot of coins? So, it just feels like the coins take the place of true awesomeness. In a level that could have been, like, extremely well designed and challenging, they just overload you with coins. You might be beyond thrilled that you discovered the super secret place in a level, which in most Mario games, you know, they lead you to, like, a warp zone or a star coin, something like that. Instead, you just find a vault of more coins pouring on you, and it's like, why did I even bother? And then apparently they released a patch where you can buy, like, additional levels with real money, but why would you? You're just going to collect more coins, so you're essentially spending money to get money. Am I the only one seeing the problem here? Yes, if you're a Catholic watching this, there is a very obvious flaw in this game, and that is, well, I forget the exact name for it, I believe it's called capitalism, that this game is seemingly trying to promote. Because, now the reason why I brought this up was that I'm actually replaying The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds just mere minutes before I started this video. And that game is incredible. One of my favorite, if not the favorite, handheld Zelda I've ever played. Like, A Link to the Past was great in the day, but this game blows that out of the water in pretty much every way. But I was also thinking, okay, you collect an insane amount of rupees in that game too, which are like the Zelda equivalent of coins. But you actually do stuff with the rupees. You can, like, help people out. You can, you know, buy new items to equip yourself on the journey. In other words, the rupees have a practical purpose. And you also have a limit to how many you can carry. Now, in real life, I don't think there is a limit on how much money that you can carry in, like, your bank account. And even if your bank account has a limit, you just put it somewhere else, like in your wallet or in a safe or something like that. So in other words, in real life, you can keep hoarding and hoarding and hoarding money until you don't know what to do with it. Whereas at least in Zelda, up until A Link Between Worlds, you always had a limited capacity for rupees, and you would have to upgrade your wallet just to get more. And you'd have to work hard to get those extra wallets. I mean, in Twilight Princess alone, you had to scour all over Hyrule collecting bugs. And then when you gave the bugs to Princess Agatha, she'd give you a bigger wallet. And also, Twilight Princess gave you a lot of opportunities to do something with your rupees. Like, there's a guy that's asking for donations for peace in Hyrule. You can donate to that. There's a guy asking you to help repair a bridge to make travel across Hyrule Field easier. That's another charitable donation. And then you've got this overpriced shop. And one of the characters in Kate Greco says, I want to buy this shop over so that people can have more reasonable prices for their stuff. Another charitable cause, because then you can actually buy the super cool armor for less money than that guy sells you. And while it may not be perfect, I mean, there are some wasted opportunities in Zelda, but overall, rupees do not equal happiness. Because you collect too many rupees, your wallet runs out, and in the original version of Twilight Princess, if you didn't have enough money for a rupee, they would say, oh, well, you don't have enough room, so let's put it back. So in other words, they're encouraging you to use money for good, don't hoard it. New Super Mario Bros. 2, on the other hand, doesn't promote that message at all. For them, it's just collect, 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 collect. In the Catholic Church, that would be considered greed. You know, the excessive collecting of possessions. Usually money is number one on the list of frowned upon things to collect. Because if you're not going to give, then receiving is pointless. As I believe it was St. Francis says, it is better to give than to receive, for in giving we receive ourselves. You know, Jesus says whoever loses his life will find it. So in other words, getting, in the sense of possessions, requires giving to a certain extent. Jesus says, sell all that you have and you'll have eternal life. And the man that he said that to went away weeping because he had many possessions. So in other words, he had too much stuff that he was hoarding. He wasn't giving enough to those that really needed it. Now, does that mean that every single Mario game is bad just because you collect coins? No, not necessarily. But New Super Mario Bros. 2 just takes it to the next level and just... I mean, I could really see Nintendo going down a dangerous road with this collectivism without doing anything about it. So, getting back to New Super Mario Bros. 2, as much as I'd love to turn this into a theology lesson, it's just simply not that good of a game. Like, even if you look past the Catholic elements of it. When I first beat the game, I made a list of the best memories of 2012, and I said, well, let's look at the top 5 worst memories. And that game was on the list. That's how disgusted I was by it. It has a boring final battle. It has uninspired music, lazy level design, not enough cool creative new items, a multiplayer mode that's so hard to set up I haven't even tried it, but apparently it's not as good as New Super Mario Bros. Wii's. Not to mention, there's just not that much to like, especially when New Super Mario Bros. 2 came out like less than 6 months later, and it was better in pretty much every way, and even looks much better in pretty much every way. So that's all for my negative rant on that game. Again, if maybe you want to have a decent bite-sized chunk of passable fun in your 3DS, maybe give it a rent, but definitely not a buy. Because from a Catholic perspective, it's appalling. From a gameplay perspective, it's disgusting. From both, it's unspeakable. Anyway, hope I didn't drown you with too much negativity. Please stay tuned for a more positive video game review after this. And until I make my next video, remember to keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless.